melanin is your key to the year 2000 and beyond. Melanin, again, is production of melatonin from the pineal gland. In most cases in Caucasoid, it is already withered and atrophied. In most cases in Negroes, by the time they're 18 to 22, it's withered and atrophied. It can be revitalized by certain light rays and certain dietary practices, and since it is a psychic gland that connects your etheric with your physical, you must also think about what's in there and that you want it to become active. Now it must be through will as well as knowledge. Since they do not have this in great abundance, the very vibrations, the very light rays are killing them. They are altering their reproductive species because they're being killed off. They have not served correctly. What is happening simply is nothing is being done by the races of man against man except by mankind. But Creator kind has said enough is enough. The planet as its travels, as the solar system as it travels, is going to a new part of the universe. The vibrations there from a central sun, which they know about, is now coming in and being reflected by all the smaller suns, Arcturus, Alcyon, Procyon. And as this energy now streams into our solar system, the planet must now change to take in this new vibration. Species that cannot elevate cease to exist. That has always been the rule. It is not changing now. What is a blessing for some is a curse for others. Okay? Aids what it is, what it isn't, and the second part aids the update. Also the lecture, earthquakes, hurricane, prophecies, and you. Okay.
Dr. Blair, I was reading in the newspaper several months ago about the humming in the mountains out in Colorado and Arizona. Could you elaborate on that? They can't figure it out.
Okay. All right. Now, you were saying what now?
The humming in the mountains out in Colorado and Arizona.
Okay.
The whites that's living in that area couldn't figure out what that humming is coming from.
Okay. The humming in the mountains, there will be a lot of vibrations going on our planet. All granite structures will have what they call crystals within it. Granite is one of the hardest structures known to man, and it comes from almost diamonds being even pressed even further. It has a lot of crystalline molecules within it. Granite structures will reflect this new sun energy, and where there is light, there's always accompanying sound. The sound emanation is what we will pick up. It will be termed in vibrations. Last night, I spoke to some of you were not here, and I talked about the hearing in the right ear. It will sound like bees and stuff. You guys are going to all go through it if you're going to mutate and develop correctly. So I'm telling you again, be prepared for it. That is a quickening of the shell that is called the astral shell around our body. Some call it the human aura, but that's in ignorance. And this shell will vibrate a different resonance because this shell is a reflection of the energies coming out of your body and your brain. So you're tuning in other words. And as nature is working with the mountains of earth and tuning their vibrations, you'll be quickened the same way. Some sensitives hear it and so on like that. Now there is, as always, since we've got a diabolical force at work on this planet too, anything good, they can't stand to have it that way. So they also are doing deep tunnel boring underneath the ground for preparatory places where they feel they can run and hide during the extra earth catastrophes, and also for the alien friends that they have made pacts with. So you're getting a little bit of both. Okay? Thank you anyway, Imani.
The cause of hair loss or not? What is the cause of hair loss or not hair not growing?
Okay. One of the causes is hormonal imbalance within our systems. The hormones are necessary just as is a good viable follicle in the scalp to promote hair growth. Usually the soaps we use, and you should not even use 1 ounce of soap on your hair, and most people wash their hair daily, That's why most of the men use their hair, especially athletes, because they're constantly putting shampoos on their hair. You should not wash your hair, really, but about once or twice every 10 days. The reason why you have to more is because of the heavy grease that is used, and also because of the poisons that are used, and because of the hydrocarbons in the air that fall on the hair. But in fact, the caustic things burn out the follicle. Once the follicle is burned out, the skin heals like any other cup heals, and the hair can't go through. You've killed off the follicle and you've tightened the scalp. So by taking the herbals and by using steam and or water that is not caustic, not tap water, but distilled water and stuff, you can use that daily, and you'd be surprised. The hair isn't as dirty as you think, unless you make it dirty. Distilled water and magnetic water, that's a whole lecture in itself, okay, can begin to help that. I'll give another lecture, magnetic solutions to electronic problems. We live in an electronic technology age. We've got to go back to the old ways. There are many ways to help nature do what it does. What did people do before there was soap? Run around dirty? No. Herbals and berries and magnets and crystals, things that were taken away from us when we were brought here, and things that were taken away from us when our planet lowered vibration. Try to be as honest with you as I could from my understanding. Any other questions or comments or statements? Is that it?
When each real females took on a more dense form, and you said they made it with animals, what type of animals were they?
Okay, with the etheric females, okay.
Was that a secret? Did you hear it?
That's not nice, folks. Come on. I guess the question was, what type of animals did the etheric female mate with again? The original was a type of chimpanzee ape, if you would, which she was curious about, and which they were curious about, because at that time the sexes were not male and female, they were one. They were universal hermaphrodites again. And as they were pulled to discover what was on this planet, they saw this creature that was bipedal and so on again like this, and mated with it. Later on, mankind, under the doctors and scientists, who I call mad scientists here, actually then created a bestial type of a person who actually mated with other animals of all kinds. And it was not just the female of the group that did this, it was a male too. They produced again some of these half animal, half creatures that you saw, which you've been told were created by the Atlantean scientists. That's not the only way that they reproduced. They let loose a people who were dumb as to who was what on earth, and they did cohabitate with anything, and their vibrations were so low at the time that they could actually reproduce.
Dr. Blair, I heard you talking about mankind and human couldn't exist anymore. Can you explain the difference between what you were saying, a human and mankind?
Yes. Human is animal man. The god Hubris, as they call it amongst the Egyptian and Nubian societies, ruling the animal kingdom. Man is descended from angels, or from what they call Lord gods. As we study, we'll find out that there were many rulers of planets with an ascendancy and a work staff and a home away from home and everything else, a summer resort. These were what we call the Lord gods. Understand one thing, in this age, as you can tell by Deep Space Nine and Star Trek and everything else, you're being prepared to understand that there are many life forms in the cosmos, multitudinous life forms even in our solar system, and you're being prepared to be introduced to them. Some of them have gone very far in technology till they become what we would call gods. Any aboriginal exposed to even your technology and know-how, or seeing your cigarette lighter and flashlight, would think that you were a god. You're not a god, and you have many frailties. Neither were they. They were Lord gods who used scientific technology to control people because they were not completely together. Real planet preparers and real people who serve the creative cosmic logoi are humble. And they also work in unison because they realize if they don't, they'll have to pay for it. Those who've gone to the other extreme don't care what they do, and they use it just as they're doing right now on this planet in any fashion possible. That's why we're having now the ultimatum. Herbia, what is it again, Bosnia and Serbia are just prototypes of what is happening. They're giving dictates now for them to act as they won't act, and they won't act in turn with the Creator, just as they've been given dictates of what's going to happen, so has the United States. We're now seeing the differences coming about. Okay, let me say again, thank you for attending. If you want any of the tapes that I do have, I don't want to go home with a box of tape. We can probably start making some deals. Also, again, if I'm invited back here again, I hope you will tell your friends about it. I'm having problems getting on some of the radio stations here in the town. I'm not quite sure why. So the drum will have to carry the message again. I hope you keep in contact again with Bert Hopsetsuit. Also, if you want to contact me in Chicago, fine. Thank you very much. Great of us.